I'd like to call my fellow panelists, Ori, Yariv, Gadi, please join me on stage. Yariv, Gadi already introduced themselves. Ori, what's your name and who are you?
That's probably the toughest question I'm going to face in this panel. So I'm Ori Goshen. I'm the co-founder and co-CEO of AI21. We're an Israeli-based company, AI company. We're known for building foundation models or large language models. And our focus is on the enterprise. My background, I started my career in 8200 as a cybersecurity engineer, and then was sucked into the entrepreneurial scene. So right after I graduated, I started a company, a built analytics platform for networking companies. That company ended up being acquired by Qualcomm, and then back in 2017, me and my colleagues decided to start AI21.
Nice. And Gadi, just a small link to AI Europe. Bosch is invested in a small AI company.
Yes. So Bosch is, first of all, has a lot of activities on its own in the AI field. As you all know, AI has become a fundamental part of many things that are being done in almost any domain. So even to the point, for example, of optimizing fuel systems, which no one thought they can make it any better. They still, once AI has been introduced, managed to get some additional performance out of these very complex systems. So it goes through a whole bunch of domains and activities within Bosch. And for us on the venture side, we are invested directly at several AI companies, and the most recent one is a company called Aleph Alpha, which is a large, it's not yet large, but it should be large activity competing with other major developers of large language models in Europe. And this is a recent investment we've done with some other investors in Germany.
Okay, so we'll get to the point of Europe versus US foundation models in a sec, but if there's one sector, since AI is cross-sector, what is the first low-hanging fruit for Europe, you would say, for the startups in the room to go for? Yariv. One sector.
It's a tough question. It's a tough question, and I will reply for like now, not in 5 years.
Now. I'm an AI startup. Where should I go for in Europe?
Non-regulated industry.
I don't care. Which one? One sector.
One sector. Go entertainment.
Entertainment. Ori.
Pharmaceuticals.
Gadi.
I'm unprepared.
One sector.
One sector. I think drug development, I would also say that.
Why do you agree with each other?
I don't know.
Terrible. Okay.
5 years.
Okay, so this was the first one. AIs, who will prevail? We have US, we have China, we have a new contender named India. So will there like be a fundamental a European AI, or are we looking at Europe using the American models or maybe the Indian ones? Yariv.
It will, in my opinion, it will depend a lot on regulations and how different countries / continents will help or not help tech people deploying their models.
Ori.
Yeah, I agree with the regulation part. I think we'll have. There's also the aspect of sovereign AI. I think national, like countries, will kind of naturally push towards developing internally, or at least have the capabilities within their countries, being developed by commercial companies or by the government itself. So I think we are seeing this sovereign AI trend. You mentioned there's the American AI, there's the European Mistral and Aleph Alpha, Israel AI, you could say, represented by AI21, but now we're seeing from India and China and other countries as well. So I think it will be interesting to see how it evolves.
Gadi.
Definitely, you're going to see dominant players in major geographies. I think we're going to a segregated world, sadly. So I totally see China pushing for their own solution, the US, of course, also in the lead at the moment. But Europe, for the same reasons of lack of dependency, want to develop their own industry. So this recent investment we've done definitely works on the fact that everything government-related sovereign AI has to be European-based. And even the US is not good enough. I think from a funding perspective, though, there's definitely a total bias towards the US companies. The amounts of money being funneled into the leading in the market, the leading players in the market, is such that in a free, non-constrained world, I think US will dominate in the near future.
We'll see.
Yes.
So who's in favor for Israeli AI to rule the world?
I'm in favor. I'm not sure it's going to happen.
Only you have fans in the audience.
It's actually more nuanced. I think the field of AI is so broad. Right now we're seeing like a few leading horse in this race, but I think it will evolve in a way that is far more decentralized than it is today.
So would you say there would be a sector-specific AI, or would it be country level? Or how do you see it?
I think it's a combination. First of all, very careful with predictions here, but
it's opinions.
Yeah,
we're all on opinions.
But yeah, I mean, there's definitely the concept of bringing expertise and specific domain knowledge and leveraging AI is something we'll see a lot of new companies coming, like building upon this theme and thesis. So I do expect there will be domain-specific AI. There will be geographical considerations, so country-specific as well. But there will be also kind of more task-specific. It won't be just about domain, but also particular tasks or areas that some companies will have a huge market share. So I think that the whole area is just going to be so broad.
I agree. I think you're going to also see a lot of development of the fundamental capabilities, but then a lot of other tools and capabilities and layers that are coming on top of, below, to make it a functional tool for many companies. If I'm a company, I don't want necessarily to get married to OpenAI. Maybe tomorrow there's a better model that comes around and I want to be able to use the capabilities. I would like to have the flexibility to have my functionality able to be fed from multiple models. So I'm not sure necessarily full stack solutions are going to prevail, but in certain vertical cases, yes, you're going to need a very specific model for a very specific use case.
So let's move away from the foundation models and a little into the corporate and companies in Europe and how they deploy AI nowadays. How do you see this going on? Yariv, let's start with you. Like Gadi mentioned a little at the beginning, but is it happening already? Is it open? What is needed for me as a startup in this domain? Is it too soon maybe?
Yeah, so I will give the perspective of Switzerland, right? That I know a little better. So large corporations start to have a willingness to deploy something, right? But then let's say Switzerland is very strong in pharma. So what do I do? How do I deploy such a model? How do I use it? And there are a lot of problems, right? Because there is a lot of data protection, a lot of constraint in terms of what can I give, what can I get back. So people are very reticent to use them, and they start to use these models for very easy use cases. there is easy use cases that are not necessarily in the core business of the company. So to come back to
core
your
business in terms of giving data out, or
not
risk of I don't know what's going on.
Let's put it
box and
the risk of giving out data. So let's I do an imaginary use case, right? Instead of having an LLM developing the next drug, because I'm not sure of what's going on and I don't want to give my data out, I will start to use LLM for I don't know, to have a place where I can say where is Gilly sitting in which office, you know, something easy. So the big companies are not there yet. Small, medium enterprises take a little bit more risk, so they are a little bit more ready and they are using a little bit more of these technologies. So to come back to your question, yes, there is a lot of space for startups to start this discussion, to start POCing, to start working with companies, but with what you said this morning, right? With the patience of following the process, building trust, and learning together.
So your advice would be, though, to start with the SMEs and then go into the larger ones once they've decided.
If you are undecided in terms of getting some money for your work, yes. But for a medium-term investment, start talk also to Nestlé, Roche, all the big ones, because it will take time.
Okay. How much time?
A long time.
Ori, from your experiences?
I actually see it a little bit differently. I see a lot of budgets allocated, and there's a lot of, for good and for bad, there's a lot of FOMO right now in the market. So people are rushing into just doing things. Even the large companies, even the large enterprises. Not a lot of production workloads, though. A lot of experimentation, but still useful experimentation. I see that there are two relevant axes here. There's the data sensitivity and the risk of the use case. So probably in also the large organizations, but also in the SMEs, they would prefer to start with the lower risk use cases and where the data is less sensitive. That's the easiest path. And then once you start showing the value there, you gradually go into the more challenging areas where compliance and all the security and all these processes kick in. So if you look at these metrics, try to go into the lower risk use cases with low data sensitivity.
Thank you. Now, AI Act. Europe is the first in the world to introduce regulation for AI. It happened last week. Yariv, good or bad? AI Act of Europe. One word.
Sorry, inevitable.
Good or bad?
I think it's good. At the end of the
Ori,
day.
good or bad?
Neutral.
No, you're not Switzerland. He's Swiss. You're Israel. You need to have an opinion.
That's my sincere answer.
Okay, Gadi, good or bad?
Good. And the reason being that European companies, well, Europe is highly regulated in many things, and if you want to actually enable adoption of AI, you need to adapt it to the culture, the business culture, the human culture. So you need to make sure that you're not bringing in a great golden nugget covered in a massive shitstorm, right? Otherwise, people will try to use it and fail or get burned. You want to actually get that widespread.
Okay, thank you. Oh, you wanted to add
so the reason I said neutral, I think exactly that's the right reason, and that's why it's a good thing. I think the risk is there are lots of limitations, or at least implied limitations, that may limit the level of innovation and pace of innovation in Europe, and that's scary.
So for the audience here, I'd like to teach you a German word. It's called Jein. It means yes and no. So that's my take on that one. And we have 5 minutes, so questions from the audience? Because we can continue talking about this topic. Questions? Ah, over there.
Hi. Foreseeing the future a bit, what could be the main AI transformed and AI leaded domain, in your opinion, in 20, 30 years? Say 80%, 90% AI presence versus 10, 20% human force.
In the workforce, in which sector are you talking?
The main domain that could
Which
be...
one? AI is for, it's like cybersecurity, it's, give us a specific sector.
Yeah, let's say food security or climate.
So would food security be managed by AI? That's
Yes.
the question.
Or any other domain
Okay.
that you can imagine.
The security side, or again, please be specific.
Okay, I don't want to be specific. I just like want to be like
Okay, I'll
to think
rephrase.
broad. Yes.
20 years or 30 years?
20 to 30 years from
Okay,
now.
so in 20 to 30 years, will there be an AI to rule us all and manage us, right? I'm translating.
Something a bit.
Okay,
If I
Yarid.
understand correctly, you are asking in which domain this can happen.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I will say maybe, and again maybe gaming, mobile gaming, or something like this, where you will write, I want a game that is A, B, C, D with these and these characteristics, and then a lot of AIs will put it together for you, and you will play. But again, maybe. I'm not sure it will ever get end to end.
Yariv is talking about today, it's called Playo.ai, there's a startup for that. And Ori, go ahead.
Yeah, I think just from a macro perspective, this question of how this will affect the workforce is popping again and again, and I think it's very relevant and something we should be thoughtful about. I do think that human judgment is underappreciated. I know that there's this notion of AI will come and will take all of these jobs. There will be jobs that will be basically eliminated, but they're on the other side. Probably every job or every knowledge-driven job is going to be dramatically enhanced by these tools. And so I think we just, as human beings, will have much more time, much more free time. We'll have these tools that will help us do our work much more effectively. And I mean, I'm drawing a very optimistic picture here, but I think that this is going to be, if I had a crystal ball, I think that this is where it's going to end up.
And for those of you who want a counter opinion to always look at the movie Matrix and choose your future.
So
You
just
wanted to say something.
yes, I completely agree. And if I can change a little bit your question, I think that this superhuman power through AI tools, the sector that will benefit the most will be health. And this is what you both said. You guys should work on health. So there I see big improvements.
Another question?
Hi, guys.
Hi.
Accenture projects a 22 to 30% increase in productivity in the banking sector using AI, and this is just Gen AI.
Yep.
However, the obstacle to entry or deployment or really proper development is obviously bank secrecy and a bunch of other regulation. How do you see tackling that, essentially? Or how will that grow and develop over the next, let's say, 12 to 36 months?
Yeah, I mean, deployments in these large organizations, specifically financial industry, is obviously challenging. I think we'll see. So right now, there are a few dominant deployment methods. There is the SaaS, where you consume these models, and this is probably the dominant one. And you have open source that you can customize towards your needs. And I think what we'll see in the coming even months, not years, is actually a slightly different deployment method where companies can use models, there will be like private open source. They can use models in their on-prem facilities. They'll have all the infrastructure to run it and will be licensed, because I think there'll still be a gap between the commercial grade models and the open source ones. I think that's where it's going to end up, and probably we'll see the manifestation of it in the financial services sector.
So then you can look at Freedom GPT, which is on-site, on desktop basically foundation model. Anyway, thank you very much. We are reconvening here at 2 o'clock sharp for the investments panel. And bon appetit, betavon.